Good morning, everyone. This is Ain't Nobody Squeaky Clean. And as always, I appreciate you for joining the podcast. Could have chosen to be anywhere else, but you came here. And if you've been coming here for a while, then that means that the content I'm providing is bringing some value to your life. If this is your first time, I hope you really enjoy what you hear. So today, I want to talk about something that's very important. It's actually a little milestone in my life. You know what's crazy? A lot of people think that somebody only quits drinking because they hit rock bottom. They think there had to be DUIs, broken relationships, rehab, some dramatic moment where life completely falls apart. But sometimes the smartest decisions you make in life happen before things get bad. And today, I'm celebrating 1,500 days since the last time I took a sip of alcohol. Not because alcohol ruined my life, but because I could see where it could eventually take me if I wasn't careful. And honestly, that might be one of the most important skills a human being can develop. The ability to recognize a future problem before it becomes your present reality. See, let me explain something to you. I was never the guy falling out of bars. I wasn't getting arrested. I wasn't waking up in random places. I wasn't the, quote, party animal, unquote, people picture when they think of somebody quitting alcohol. But I'm observant. And one thing about me, I watch people, I study patterns, and I look at outcomes. And I remember exactly when the switch flipped in my mind. I think I've talked about this before, but I was on spring break with my family back in 2022. Beautiful weather, everybody was relaxing, music playing, people laughing, the type of environment where drinking is just normal. So I'm sitting at the bar looking around, and I noticed something. Actually, I noticed two things. Everybody around me at that bar had two things. Number one was a massive spare tire stomach. And I definitely didn't want that. But number two, they all had a lot of money. I didn't have that. Now let me explain, because some people are going to misunderstand this, excuse me. I'm not saying that every successful person has to sit around and drink. But what I noticed was they were using it in a celebratory fashion. Kind of like everybody that I thought about that I knew or know that drinks, that's what they do. They use the drinking as a celebration. Oh man, it's been a hard work week. I'm going to grab a beer. Whew. Man, we've been going through it at home, man. Let's go get a drink. It's almost like that drink is your therapist. Somehow, the drink is the milestone. The drink is the finish line. And I just started thinking about that and reflecting on the people that I've known in my life up to that point that were heavy drinkers and how everything ended up for them. And that was the moment when I said, you know, enough is enough. Especially when I measured that up against the challenges that I've seen in life. government contracting, multiple job losses, multiple stints with those job losses, extended periods of time. The last thing that I wanted to do was continue partaking in something that could eventually escalate to levels that there's no coming back from. So then I started looking at some other things. The people who had discipline, the people who looked healthy, the people who still had energy and confidence later in life, most of them, they're not sitting around this bar drinking all day. But the people who were, or the people who are, a lot of them look tired, worn down, overweight, bloated. They look comfortable in their bloated skin, but they also look stuck in a cycle. So I had that moment, that epiphany, where I said to myself, you can't chase the life you want while building habits that pull you in the opposite direction. That was it. That was the moment. No intervention, no tragedy, no huge speech, just clarity. And honestly, sometimes clarity changes your life more than pain does. Because pain usually means you waited too long. Clarity means you still have time. So right there on that vacation, in that moment, I made the decision. I'm done. And what's wild is nobody probably even realized how serious I was except for me. Because the biggest life decisions usually happen quietly. There's no movie soundtrack playing. There's no crowd cheering. There's no dramatic social media announcement. It's just you having an honest conversation with yourself. And for me, the honest conversation was this. If I eventually want financial freedom, if I want to feel healthy, if I want to stay sharp mentally, if I want to build something meaningful, then I cannot keep participating in habits that slowly weaken me. And that's the part that people don't talk about enough. Most bad habits do not destroy you overnight. They slowly negotiate with your future. One drink becomes a routine. The routine becomes comfort. The comfort becomes dependency, and dependency becomes your identity. And once something becomes a part of your identity, that is when it gets hard to escape. So I made a decision before it got there. And now here we are, 1,500 days later. And let me tell you something. The benefits went way beyond alcohol. Because once you prove to yourself that you can eliminate one unnecessary habit, you start realizing what else you're capable of controlling. Your eating, that can improve. Your thinking, that improves. Your discipline improves. And your confidence also improves. You stop needing escapes all the time. And here's something else nobody tells you. When you start calculating how much money you were spending in that particular habit, you start thinking about, wow, imagine if I had put this money over here. I could have done this. Imagine if I hadn't wasted my time sitting around doing nothing. Because basically, that's what you were doing. Nothing. It's crazy. Think about it. Drinks, bars, vacations centered around drinking, random late night food after drinking, impulse spending. That stuff adds up fast. Most of the time, when you spend money frivolously, there is alcohol involved. Many times. I'm not going to say most. Let me backtrack. Many times, when you spend money frivolously or you make decisions regarding money, alcohol is involved. And when you remove it, you realize the error of your ways, and then you start to say, oh my goodness. Why was that ever in my life? Now, this isn't me preaching, guys. I'm not one of those people that suddenly quits something and starts acting morally superior. The name of my podcast is Ain't Nobody Squeaky Clean because that starts with me. I am nowhere near squeaky clean or sitting here with a Bible on top of a soapbox telling you how you need to live. If people drink responsibly and enjoy life, have at it. This is just about self-awareness. It's about understanding your patterns because everyone has something. Everyone. For some people, it's alcohol. For some, it's gambling. And I've talked about that. But those two go hand in hand. If you drink, you're going to gamble more. So if you have a problem in that area, removing alcohol is probably a great thing. For some, it's simply spending money. You want to get something on Amazon? You might be thinking about it all day, but I guarantee if you take a few drinks, you'll pull the trigger real quick. For some, it's food. Drinking and food go hand in hand. And you stop thinking about how much you're indulging when you have that mood-altering substance in your body. For some, it's relationships. How many bad decisions have people made under the influence? For some, it's social media. We've all seen people have a few and then get online and slur words and say some things that are absolutely insane because we've seen them. For some, it's laziness. You feel bad about something, you drink, that's it. I'm not going to do that, man. I'm going to sit here and be happy with my Miller Lite. And for some, it's comfort. That drink will make you feel good about whatever situation you're in. The real question is, can you identify the thing that quietly steals your future before it becomes too powerful to control? That is the lesson. I'm going to repeat that. Can you identify the thing that quietly steals your future before it becomes too powerful to control? That's it. And honestly, one of the hardest parts about making disciplined decisions is that nobody celebrates them early. People celebrate recovery. People celebrate transformation. People celebrate the comeback story. But very few people celebrate prevention. And prevention is actually harder sometimes because you're walking away from something before you're forced to. That requires vision, maturity, honesty. And maybe that's why I'm proud of these 1,500 days. Not because I was battling an alcohol addiction, but because I chose discipline over further drift. I chose long term over temporary. I chose future me over present comfort. And trust me, that decision mattered more than I realized at the time, especially now, because life has continued to throw serious challenges my way over the last few years. Career challenges, incredible financial pressure, incredible levels of stress, uncertainty, and incredible levels of disappointment. And during those moments, you know what I thought to myself? I said, man, imagine trying to navigate all of this while also battling other unhealthy habits like alcohol. If I hadn't walked away from alcohol, do you know how many people have asked me to go out and get a drink? Man, you going through it, man. Let's go get a drink. And I have to quietly remind them, hey, man, I gave that up. That is the last thing that I need to do. And then they all remember, oh, yeah, my bad. Come out, get some water, and, we'll get some wings. And, so they adapt. So my tribe is strong. But because it's not on their minds, they're not thinking about it all the time. Because as I mentioned earlier, there's no parade. It's just a decision that you make. And they're still going on with their lives because that's how they maneuver. And that's fine. That's fine. Because if I continued down that path, it would have made things exponentially harder than they already are. So instead, I stayed clear-minded. And that matters because life already gives us enough obstacles that we don't need to volunteer for more. So today, 1,500 days later, I'm grateful. Grateful for clarity, discipline, growth. Grateful that I listened to that little voice during that vacation that said, this could eventually go to some really dark places. But you still have time to change direction because it doesn't have a grip on you. And if you're listening to this right now, maybe there's something in your life that you already know isn't helping you. Maybe you haven't hit rock bottom. Maybe nobody else even sees the issue. But deep down, you know. And sometimes that quiet awareness is enough. You don't always need disaster to create change. Sometimes wisdom whispers before pain screams. And if you can hear the whisper, you might completely change your future. 1,500 days, no alcohol. One decision, one moment of honesty, one commitment to becoming the person I wanted to be. And honestly, that might have been one of the best investments that I ever made into myself. There are many things that we go through in life as adults. There are many changes that we have. There are many things that we're not even introduced to until we become adults that we don't realize can become a problem. That's how the devil works. The evil forces will introduce things into your path, knowing that this could be the one thing that I can skew him or her off of their positive trajectory to this path. So I'm going to keep trying. I'm going to throw it their way. Distractions. How many times have we said, man, if I never started this, where would I be today? Well, if you're lucky enough to identify something early enough where it can still make a difference, you still have time to turn the corner. and make a different decision today. With that, this is Ain't Nobody Squeaky Clean. And as always, I hope you have a blessed day and a blessed week. I know this one was a little bit longer than others, but it was a little more important as well. So for those of you who have stepped away from something that was negative in your life, I commend you. And for the others that are still struggling with whatever it is in your life, I commend you as well. Because I know it's not easy. And I know you're doing your best. But if you can make a change, one day, you'll look back and say, wow, I actually accomplished a goal that I never thought would be possible. I'll talk to you soon. Take care.